welcome to episode 4 of Book Club Babble Brew. It has been a hot minute since I updated you on what I'm reading or what I'm listening to, so stick around. Welcome to The Right Mama. My name is Jennifer Aline. I am a women's fiction writer, a freelance writer, and the mother of twin girls. Today we are talking about what I have read or listened to via Audible audiobooks in the last few months. And let me tell you, it has been a crazy few months. I moved to a new townhouse. We've been dealing with all the commotion that comes with that. I've been writing my butt off. I dealt with a lovely publishing situation, which wasn't lovely. That's a lie. So there's been a lot. And in December, I've had a goal to read before bed every single night. And it's not even the middle of December, and I just finished what I've been trying to finish for a while. Happy and You Know It by Laura Hankin. And this book, Courtney, Lyra Parrish, said I had to read it. And I'm glad that she suggested this to me because moms out there, you guys should read it. You will feel so normal after you read this. I also listened to Beach Read by Emily Henry via Audible. And I have a lot of thoughts on Beach Read and on Happy and You Know It. So let's start off with Beach Read. So Beach Read I listened to through Audible, so it was an audiobook. And it's by Emily Henry. It is a romance book, a women's fiction book, and it was good. I did like it. If I rated it, and I should probably start rating books, and I would probably rate this 3.5 coffee mugs. 3.5 coffee mugs, not 5. 3.5 coffee mugs. And I'm going to tell you why. The storyline kind of is there's an author and she escapes to a beach house that her father has given to her. Her father's passed away. It's causing a lot of emotional turmoil on her. And she goes there to try to finish writing her book. She is an author. She has a deadline. While she's there, she faces someone from her past who is also an author. And they kind of get a competition going where they both want to finish their books that summer, and it's a romance book, so you can guess what happens. It was well written. It definitely was well written. I will give it that. The characters were really unique. I really liked the protagonist. I really liked her personality, kind of her goofiness. You know, we're writers. We're all a little goofy. I also really liked the setting, being at that beach house. You really, while you're reading the story, feel like you're at a beach house. And it was nice kind of with all these changes going on to kind of escape when I was driving and listen to this, or escape while I was working out. I do a run walk. I don't call it a run and I don't call it a walk. It's a run walk. So I'd listen to this while I would run walk. I also think that Emily Henry did a good job with her side characters. You know, she did a good job sculpting them, making them real. There's a couple who I really liked interacting with via the story. I think she did a great job making them come to life just through being a side character, not being a main character. So I'll definitely give her credit when it came to that. And then the sex scenes. She did a really, really good job with the sex scenes. I'll leave it at that. So those were the goods that I'm definitely going to throw your way. And I have a couple not so goods that I'll bring up. Again, I listened to this on Audible. And this year was the first year that I've really gotten into audiobooks. And this is the first book that I could not stand the narrator. I don't know the narrator's name. I'm not going to put it out there. But I honestly think I would have given this book probably like a 4-ish stars if I read it, not listened to it. The narrator's voice to me did not match the character at all. The narrator's voice I feel like was a little older than the character. And everybody's voice is different. And not everybody fits maybe how they look with their voice. But in my mind, when I was listening, I felt like I was listening to somebody who was like in their late 40s, maybe 50s. And this character was in her mid to late 20s. So I had a really hard time the whole time connecting the voice with the character, especially when she's wearing, you know, baggy sweatpants or she's wearing nice heels, and just I had such a hard time connecting the voice with the character that I was picturing in my mind. So I will definitely say that played a really big part in the 3.5 coffee cups that I'm giving it. I also kind of had a hard time at first with the plot. I I understood that she was going to a beach house to finish writing her book, but I was kind of waiting for more. I also know there's a romance, but the overarching plot, I just had a hard time grasping. I felt like I was just kind of reading a story, which is good, but I was waiting for kind of like that bam. And I've learned a lot in the past couple years about overarching plots and how important they are. And I think maybe because of that, I'm looking out for that more because I know that's something I struggle with. So I had a hard time following like the big picture plot in her story. Also, and I don't have any examples of this, so you can call me out if I'm wrong, a lot of like her descriptions of clothing or some of the things that the characters would say didn't seem very modern and current. And I know this is contemporary. So since this is a modern day contemporary romance book, I would have expected more like modern slang or modern clothes. I forget some of the things that she said in the book, but it just didn't fit into today. It was almost more like 2000, 2001 that I felt like some of the clothes was, or some of the things they said were. And that just might be maybe the author, that just might be the tone the author has. But that's something else that kind of, while I was reading, I was like, okay. Honestly, other than that, it was a good story. And I hate giving negatives, but I feel like moving forward, when it comes to this book Club Babble and Brew special, I should probably put some negatives as well. But I'm going to rate this 3.5 coffee cups, and I do think it's a good story. I just think the narrator really wasn't a good choice. Okay, let's talk about Laura Hankin's Happy and You Know It. And this took me a while to read. It's a big book. I'm also just a slow reader, and like I said, a lot was going on. But this was good. I'm going to give this 4 solid coffee cups. Probably like 4.25. Close to 4.5. I'll say this was a really good book. I really liked it. And I don't have too much negatives to throw at it. I do have a couple. But I will definitely say like 4 and a couple drops of coffee. 4 coffee cups and a couple dribbles. I'm making my own review system up. So this story is about a musician who gets kicked out of her band and is looking for work in New York City. And she ends up being a musician for a rich hoity-toity play group with all these rich and hoity-toity moms. And she learns a lot of the ins and outs of this group. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of just unexpected like woes. And there's also a lot of just mom life things that if you're a mom, even if you're not like a hoity-toity rich mom, which I'm not a rich mom, I could relate to. So that was a really cool part of it, that, you know, the mom life aspect, even though they were rich and hoity-toity, everything comes down to being a mom. You get it. You can connect on that level. And that was really cool how she kind of made that connection with the characters and the reader, if you're a mom. Starting with the characters were very well written. Each character was very different. There's a lot of characters in this book. You kind of get sort of a viewpoint from like 3 or 4-ish of the main ones. There's like maybe 7-ish, I could be wrong, 7-ish moms in this play group, and then the musician. And you often get the, you know, story of the musician, but you switch to another mom in the group and you hear kind of their side of things, and it's very interesting. One of the characters in this, Amara, is like my favorite character I've read all year, probably in like 2 years. An amazing character, just a strong woman, a strong mom, and a strong Black person, especially in the time of now. Just to have a strong Black woman in a book, Amara is my soul. Like I said before, she had some really amazing, real life, relatable mom quotes, and I'm going to read one because I just freaking loved it. I put it on my Instagram in the ABC Blocks section, which is like the kids section, mom life section, and this quote is, I'm reading it from there. You could love your baby to pieces, be thankful every day for his 10 tiny toes and his piercing wail and his all-consuming existence, and yet still mourn the life you'd had before. And somehow, it wasn't cool to say that. To treat the birth of a baby as the death of something else, you had to be all joy, all gratitude. Wow. I don't even have to say there was something about that sentence, because if you're a mom, even if you're not a mom, you can feel that sentence, or those few sentences, that entire and my my favorite character in that book, Amara, does say that. It's just such a strong statement, and it's true. And it's something I've struggled with. You can check out my most recent mom video that I've done. And I've struggled with the transition from, single life human to motherhood life human. And it is a transition. And sometimes you feel guilty for missing that pre-baby life. And you shouldn't feel guilty. And it's not like the death of that old life. So that clump of amazing sentences just hit me hard. And there's other parts of this book that really hit me. And even if you're not a mom, the main character, really, the musician, isn't a mom. You can relate on so many levels to these women in the story. Another positive is, look at this cover, guys. Look at that. It's just amazing. And honestly, if you look, now I just noticed something. If you look at like all these pins, they honestly kind of do represent like what happens in this story. The avocado, I'm not sure. But these pins were just really good choices. And it really represents the story. It's just a brilliant cover. And it's one you want to grab. Very well done. Just a gorgeous cover. Even on the back, it continues. That cell phone is definitely important. And that'll move me onto another topic after this one. Something else about the book is there's short, quick chapters. Very easy, quick to read, which I'll say helped when I was doing this whole read before bed in December thing, because I was maybe a quarter into this book at the beginning of December, and I just had to keep reading. And every night I just kept reading because the chapters were short and you wanted to keep reading. And she ended the chapters always with like something big or like a question or not even a cliffhanger, just you had to keep going. And going back to the little pin back there with the phone, she did a really good job with realistic modern use of social media. That's a really big part of the book. Is one of the moms is a momstagrammer, an influencer, and that's big because it shows real life use of social media and Instagram and Facebook. And I'm somebody who has a really hard time writing real life social media into books because I know it's going to change over the years. This book did the perfect job at it and used it in very realistic, modern ways that everybody gets. It's not like, oh, that's like 10 years ago, kind of like Beach Read with certain things. This was like, yep, that's exactly what's going on today. And it was just really cool to 100% be into it on that level too, because I've seen it and in a way I've experienced some of that social media stuff. And she just did a phenomenal job with the social media aspect. I'm going to add just a few negatives, but like I said, this is a pretty high rating book, great story. I again had a hard time with the overarching plot of the story. I knew this musician was going to try to find a job and she started singing for a group of moms. And then, each character had their own story going on, but sometimes I still wasn't sure what the goal was of the story besides she wants to find a job and then she starts working as the singer for the playgroup. I had a hard time sometimes thinking, okay, but what's the motivation? What's the goal of the story? And at the end, you do kind of go, oh, okay, there's something going on, but I didn't really get that for a while. So I did like reading it because I could relate to it on such a tight-knit level, but I had a hard time again with that overarching plot. It might just be me because it's something I'm always thinking about, but yeah, there was that. And the only other negative is that there were a lot of characters, and I'm somebody who likes to write multiple points of view, so each chapter is a different character, so it's, obvious who's talking. And she, it's third person. It was obvious, she would change, she'd be writing a chapter and then break, and then it's a different character, and then break, and it's a different character, or start a whole new chapter, and maybe it was a short chapter about a different character's side of things. And sometimes it got confusing because there are a lot of characters, and they weren't specifically, focused chapters, but it wasn't that tough. But I will say sometimes that caused a little confusion, but not a ton. That's really all I have when it comes to Happy and You Know It by Laura Hankin. Amazing story, very realistic, relatable, the words that I like to use about my women's fiction. So I really, really enjoyed reading her story. when it comes to, you know, women's fiction, she's definitely somebody I want to read again, being that I write in this genre. Very good writer, very talented, and also writes really good sex scenes. So you might be wondering what I'm going to be reading next. And I still have Volume 2 of Saga. I have not yet flipped it open. Like I said, it's been a crazy few months, but I'm hoping come January, I jump into this bad boy. I read these slowly just for fun to kind of escape. So this could honestly be months until I'm finished, just because I like to just randomly jump in. So I've started listening to, as an audiobook, Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed, and I do like it so far. And I'm probably not that far into it at all. So by the time this next video episode comes out, that will be finished. The next book I am going to read, I am ridiculously excited about, and this is a huge book. Jenna Moressi's The Savior's Sister. I listened to The Savior's Champion on audiobook. And that was the first episode I had. I think first or second I talked about that. And it was I listened to that so fast. I loved it. I loved it. And I've been waiting for this. This is a huge book. Look at this thing. To me, this is really big. And I've been looking forward to the other character's point of view, which is Layla. And this is a big book, like I keep saying. I'm really hoping that I can finish this in a couple months. I know everyone's like, I can finish that in a couple days, but I can't. So I will be working on this bad boy. I'm so excited for a while, and I probably will start this one tonight. I'm going to throw in the one I'm going to read after that, which will probably be in like a few months, but Meglator's The Cyborg Tinkerer. I'm super pumped about this. I met Meglator at the 2016 Writers Digest conference, and we were just both going to enjoy the conference as writers. And that was before, you know, iWriterly blew up and became the wonderful YouTube channel it is. And I am so excited to just read her writing. And there's also aerial circus aspects in this. And being that I am an aerialist and an instructor and performer, not as much in 2020, but I have performed in the past, I can't wait to see how she intertwines the circus dynamics into her story. I can't wait to read this, but it's going to be a bit because this bad boy is next. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 4 of Book Club Babble and Brew. If you like this kind of stuff, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. I post every Friday. If you also have any other women's fiction or just easy to read romance chick lit books, also put those in the comments that maybe they're similar to Happy and You Know It, or similar to Sally Thorne, or Emily Giffin, or Meg Cabot. Oh, actually, I need to read that one too. So put some in the comments so I can put it on my TBR list for 2021. Thank you guys so much. Stay creative and reading, and stay caffeinated.